Returning to Source. Hello, I'm Jim Morningstar, Director of Transformations, the School of Integrative Psychology, and the Transformations Breathwork Training Program. At Transformations, we examine topics experientially for personal growth and the betterment of the human condition, using tools that are accessible and effective for all since 1980. The topic of our current course inquiry is, what is Source and why return to it? Our challenge in this course is how to incisively address our most primal human challenges with loving intention and conscious breathing in a 9-session journey home. As the circle of our consciousness expands toward the infinite, it aspires to the heights of ascension, and it also takes us to the depths of beingness and all it entails to be divine in human form. This is the stumbling block for most en route to enlightenment. We shall, with courage and shared intention, experience and integrate both the heights and depths of our beings in coming home to the ownership of our source in 9 classes of inner and outer life transformation. In this course, you'll receive 9 videos with fresh content on the core topics, including taped interviews with acknowledged leaders in each field. Instructions on specific practices in which we will engage daily over a month's time to deepen our individual and collective journey. Emotional, mental, and spiritual support for your personal journey back home to feeling safety in your body and on our planet. Heartfelt camaraderie on the road to self-realization. And having our trip be loving and filled with humor and authentic joy. Source addresses primordial human questions of who am I? Why do I exist? Corollaries from these are, where did I come from and where am I going? So the answers can be philosophical, intellectual, faith-based, emotional, or experiential. And these can be satisfying or unfulfilling depending on who is asking and why. In this course, we will favor the experiential approach with the following presuppositions. We exist, and though we are united in some way, we have differing points of view on life. We have existed long enough to witness the results of conflictual and cooperative approaches to survival and prefer to strengthen the cooperative without being ignorant of the conflictual. We prefer to gain expertise with self-mastery tools that allow us to explore and discover rather than given pat answers that require blind obedience. We respect the sacredness and dignity of all life of which we are a part and from which we aspire to learn while reserving the right to choose our own path. We agree to support and share with our fellow participants with the intention to advance and enhance our sense of well-being and joy on our journey of self-discovery. Our roadmap through this 9-class exploration is detailed in the human body and psyche and is illuminated by the Spirit, which gives life to both. Our job is to read the signs in our body and mind that lead us to increased awareness, freedom, and fulfilled potential. The tools we will employ in this investigation include the breath, which is one of the best threads that holds together all the elements of who we are, body, mind, and spirit. So we shall be using breath awareness and modulation techniques every day during this course to relentlessly uncover what impedes our freedom and mastery, release what is no longer useful for us, and bring new life to our potential that's waiting to blossom. This aspect of the course will take us into the traumas that have frozen our potential, as well as the strengths that emerge as a result of all our past challenges. We will use the latest advances in neuropsychological science of relational trauma that help us heal and grow. We will use the experience of elders. We will have videotaped interviews with veteran explorers from around the world who have pioneered in and are on the cutting edge of such investigations as we are undertaking. Each expert in the field of breathwork and the human psyche will shine the light on a particular aspect of primal challenges we face and share ways to meet these challenges with intelligence, courage, and inspiration. The class themes and guest interviewees are, first, the theme is What is Source and Why Return? Birth Trauma and the Separation from Source. Carol Lampman, the Director of Integration Concepts, certified breathwork trainer, and who, in my estimation, is the foremost expert on healing infants from that original entry into human life at birth. Second, mother wounding and unconditional love. Tilka Platil-Dur, the author of The Art of Integrative Therapy. Third, father wounding, recovering confidence and competence. Dr. Wilfred Ehrman, licensed psychotherapist, international trainer in integrative breathwork, author of Manual of Breath Therapy, and On the Courage to Grow, a book on the evolution of consciousness in culture and in individuals. Fourth, sibling relationships and relationality. Jeremy Yost, director of the Power of Breath Institute. Fifth, educational wounding and innate intelligence. Ann Harrison, director of Breathwork Trainings International, who has been a leader in obtaining government accreditation for breathwork trainings in Australia. Sixth, ancestral wounding, recovering personal and planetary wholeness. Dr. Belisa Varanish, clinical psychologist, author and media personality, founder of The Breathing Class in New York City. 7. Partner rejection and divine lover inner child. Judy G., teacher of Tantra and Breathwork, author of Intuition, Awakening Your Inner Guide. 8. Crisis of leisure and savoring life, retiring from worry. Dan Brule, author of Just Breathe, Master Breathwork for Success in Life, Love, Business, and Beyond. And finally, 9, Spiritual Awakening and the Journey Home. Jessica Dibb, Global Professional Breathwork Alliance co-director, Unified Global Breathwork Field founder, and Inspiration Community and Consciousness School founder and director. We'll also be using experiential class exploration. Each class will provide us with opportunities to explore in depth with our own bodies and minds what life in the safe lane would have us bypass, if not actively avoid. We will challenge our institutionalized fears and habits, emotional and procedural memories that have kept us in behavioral, feeling, and thinking loops that actually keep us in unsafety. Home sweet homework. We will take tools out of the classroom and into our daily lives that keep us connected to each other and our source. We'll consciously regroove new neural pathways through simple, unobtrusive breathing and thinking practices that pave the way to greater self-appreciation and resourcefulness, from simple daily awareness to grander sense of purposefulness in our life mission. And finally, we'll use community of spirit. We'll have the opportunity to share the discoveries, challenges, and advances of our fellow students dedicated to returning to Source. This collaborative effort and groundswell of success that comes from holy group intention over an extended period is truly a joy to behold and experience. So what is Source? Our source is our beginning. It tells us about our true nature and the substance from which we are made. The source of a river, for example, is the wellspring from which its waters start flowing. So were we to think of the river's source magically, we might ascribe to that place on earth the ability to create water. Unless we were to investigate further, we might attribute all creative power to that spot on the planet because that's what our eyes first see. Similarly, in finding our source, we could look at birth and assume all creative power to our mother because she seems to be the place on earth from which we sprang. Now, even though we purport to have advanced beyond magical thinking intellectually, we can still end up emotionally giving her credit and or blame for the way we turned out. Or, as we grow, transfer that credit and blame to other source substitutes like our mates or teachers. Our future classes in this course will uncover in some detail the results of our magical emotional thinking and ways to restore original balance and truth in our relationship to Source. That is, the journey of being human. Well, why return to Source? If Source is where we came from, shouldn't we be looking forward to where we're going rather than backward to where we've come from? In a two-dimensional world, that makes sense. However, in a holistic universe, where we start from informs us of who we are, what we're made of, and the nature of our destiny. Knowing what is essential to me and what is transient helps me from being distracted by the inconsequential en route. For example, if I see my stomach and its appetites as the core of who I am, I'll be pulling off the road at every sign of an eating establishment along the highway and forget my destination. If I see my appetite as part of a greater being who belongs to a family on my way to reunion with loved ones, I will indulge my appetites only to the degree they facilitate my safe and expeditious travel. Conversely, if I were to return to my original source, I might experience that I'm a human being with a spiritual nature who has appetites on his way with like-spirited beings to creating a world that honors our true nature and fosters its growth and play. If this were a genuine, deep, enduring experience rather than a passing fancy, then perhaps my ability to distinguish between distractions along the way and the passion for fulfilling my destiny would steadily grow. The fascination with filling my vehicle with souvenirs and candy wrappers would decrease, and balance, clarity of vision, and joy in the daily journey would magnify. The key here is to owning that core experience, not trusting someone else's reports of its value in travel brochures, or just hoping it will happen someday if I plod along dragging my baggage full of roadside attractions and empty fast food containers. Here's where we must make a sincere dedication to using the best tools we know to keep us uncluttered, focused, and directed every day. We must consciously vow to release the struggle and embrace the deeper satisfaction of our soul's calling in our bodies, rather than content ourselves with a humdrum routine softened with addictive sensory titillations. This is conscious work because the culture is replete with all the tricks of capturing our hardwired survival attentions and linking them to artificially induced needs. Witness the fistfights on Black Friday over who gets to the bargain counters before whom, or the magazines that are 90% eye candy. Just as there is now an advertising science on how to push your appetitive buttons, So is there also a technology of consciousness of how to master your mind and take back the controls of your body. But it must be your choice. It must be our choice. It must be now. Tomorrow is always a day away, as they say. So take a deep breath and make that choice to reown mastery of your own destiny, even if you're not certain of how you will do it. Your willingness is your choice. Notice your habits around making this choice. If you can make this choice right now, it can get easier to keep making that choice with each breath until it's just the way you live. That's called mindfulness. If you decide not to make the choice, but wait until you have more evidence, or trust the speaker more, or sleep on it, or feel 100% about it, or that can become a habit until it's just the way you live and slowly die with each breath. Now, the breath is just a fuel to give juice to your intentions, and it's doing so in your life. About 7 million breaths a year. That's a lot of reinforcement for being a certain way. The good news is that you have free will and can change your mind with the next breath. This course is about making our choices conscious and increasingly self-caring. That's self with a capital S, which includes everyone in your world. Every positive choice you make to embrace your true source strongly impacts everyone in your sphere. You may even discover that's part of your mission on Earth. I know that it's part of mine because it's an experience in my core. I invite you to join us on this journey and make the choice to be affirmed in your sincere, in-depth exploration of your true source, and how this transforms your life's journey with increased certitude and ownership of your unique way of being, as well as your loving unity and support of our common source every day.